created to have some fun together, sharing and singing. So, join and enjoy.
Our love for opera brings us together. Thanks for being with us in this trip.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you again for joining us in this program. And today it's a very special occasion for us, provided that Rafa and I both are Mexican, because today we are bringing a very emblematic Mexican popular song, more in what we call the gender of the música ranchera in Spanish locally. That is what it's called. I don't think ranchera can be really translated into any language, so we are going to leave it as ranchera. And there are some particularities because we really need to talk about the mariachis. The mariachis as well are also very emblematic, and maybe you in your countries or videos have seen them. If you can see now, we have in this, I'm about to push play, we have the mariachis are usually, they can be small. I think the smallest I have seen is 4. And then they can be up to dozen or 20. They can be very, very, very huge, which of course adds to the quality of the sound and the level. And the reason why I like this how this video starts is because you can see clearly the type of wearing, the dressing, the garments of what we call a mariachi. What you can see, of course, there are let's call it level of luxurious. There are several which are absolutely amazing. Some of them plated in gold, some of them plated in silver, and the instruments, as you can see, also there are instruments that you will not be familiar with in your own country. But enough with the talking, and why don't we listen to a part of this music that will be so much recognizable for the ears of everybody here. So this recording is from Mariachi Palmeros, as you can read on the screen. One of the reasons why I chose this video is one that if you could see the flag of the U.S. on the upper right left corner, this is actually recorded in the United States, and not because it is recorded in the United States itself, but because this is in a way to show you that Mexicans, even if they are not in Mexico, and you will see it because we have 2 more recordings from another countries, Mexicans, even if they are not in our country, Mexicans can listen or will look for mariachi or for music that gives our identity. And no matter where, the Mexican will find a way to. Yeah, for instance, maybe you didn't know, but in Colombia there are mariachis, and they are Mexican people living there who have grouped together and have their own mariachi down there in Colombia. So people in Colombia know the mariachis because they also sing there. And this is this complete symbolism of mariachi around the Mexican identity and how the world sees us. But it is also true that there is something in the sound of the mariachis that really touches the soul of a Mexican. What are your thoughts, Rafa? What would you like to add in terms of the importance and the symbolism of the mariachis for the Mexicans?
Hi everyone. Yeah. Well, at the end, as you said previously, the mariachi is a very typical kind of music that in the world, Mexico is as the huge symbol for Mexicans. You know, you can recognize even you are in Japan or China or India or in United States or South America, Europe, whatever. And mariachi, in fact, is one of the most, let's say, joyful, if it's correct to say, it's a very joyful music genre, because the international people, when it's listening, or they are listening the mariachi songs, they got crazy just in one jump, So I'm totally agree that that's our main flag as a musician, or as a country in the music field.
And also now going a little about the difficulties before we jump into today's song. I was saying that singing music with a mariachi is not easy at all. And you will see it in our song that we have today. There are many things that can go horribly wrong when you try to sing with a mariachi. In one hand, notice that the natural volume of the instruments is very high, which pushes your audition. You may be aware that we sing, and in a way we need to understand how our sound is going. But with so much loudness around you, with all the instruments and sometimes the other singers, you are basically unable to hear yourself, as if you were singing only with an orchestra with more careful sounds at a given distance, a piano, which also can be much more moderate. You have all these instruments all by your side, all of them playing with a good, a huge volume, and that makes you difficult to be able to understand if you're singing too low, if you're singing too loud, if you're falling off pitch. There are additional, let's say, environmental challenges when singing with a mariachi. But also the music written, most of the music written for singing with a mariachi are difficult in the tesitura. They very often demand strong notes, if not super high, at least strong notes very close to the passaggio, or a little high in the beginning area of the high notes of the voices for the tenor. If you're a baritone, it may also be a challenge. But the way it often goes to that area in good volume makes it very easy for people to crack the voice or sing it very, very timidly, provided that they know that they cannot go full voice, full range, because the voice will not be able to stand it. That could be from the technical point of view, but also emotionally, you cannot approach the mariachi or this type of music, without really, really feeling it. Because if you don't feel it, there will be a mismatch in what you are singing with what you are playing. And as Rafa just mentioned, from the very first moment you listen to the mariachi, the emotion explodes. People sitting, you see that really something is happening. So you know that you are going to, I don't know, maybe to sing Cielito Lindo, and you don't expect someone to de la Sierra Morena. You don't expect something boring. You expect someone really committed to that expression, and that's going to be of this case. Rafa, would you like to add something to the difficulties of singing with a mariachi?
The fact in here is that with the mariachi, as you said, you can explode your emotions. You can yell. You can very, as I said, very joyful with this kind of music. But we have a lot of singers, and we have a lot of songs which has a pretty great lyrics, singing by a good singer with the mariachi, and really gets deep into the heart. It's kind of mixed with a great music, mixed with a great lyrics as well, because the mariachi is talking with its music. It's talking about places, it's talking about the land, it's talking about roots of our nature as Mexicans. It's talking about love and not love. So that's the great of the mariachi topics. So that my point of view is that's the reason why mariachi is very known in the whole world, because there are several topics that with the music you can talk to.
And we have to mention something. For sure, if you go to a party either in Mexico or where there are Mexicans or the hosts are Mexican, they are going to play this music. I mean, not the specific song that we are playing today, which is very light, but all this music from Vicente Fernandez and many others in the gender, there will be this music and people will be drunk and there will be tequila and they will be hugging and singing all together because that's how Mexicans celebrate, if it can be said. Oh, my girlfriend of the past 5 years left me. Play Vicente Fernandez, drink tequila, and we are going to figure a way out. Y volver, volver, while you're drinking, hugging your friends. That's if you in your countries have ever had the opportunity of meeting a Mexican friend or attending a party where there are Mexicans, you know that what we're speaking is truth. There's going to be tequila. There's going to be lots of drinks. Mezcal, of course. There's going to be mezcal. There's going to be this type of ranchera music with Vicente Fernandez and many other singers. And probably it will be 5 or 6 in the morning, and the party is not over yet. They usually take overnight all these parties. So that's why this is so Mexican. That's why this is the spirit of who we are as a country. Well, now why don't we go to the first recording that I want to share with you all, and this is going to prove what I was mentioning before. Well, the first mariachi was in I forgot the state, Alabama, I think, in the United States. This recording comes from London, which really called my attention because you know how there are many people listening to us in Britain, so in the UK. So forgive me for what I'm going to say, but you know, guys, that you are very stiff, serious, barely smiling. So I really cannot, in my mind, put this group of Mexicans singing, drinking, mariachi music, and the Brit in the same place. Something in my mind tells me that it wasn't going to work. And you can see in the crowd, because the video is taken from a distance, that people are attentive, like what is going to happen. And we're going to listen to tenor Christopher Gonzalez having the joy and the honor, I would say, because every time a Mexican, not only in our own country, but every time a Mexican can be in another country presenting what is part of our own culture and identity, is huge. It's now you, Mexican, showing your music to the world. In this case, it's going to be London. And I'm going to play it, and right after this, as we usually do, we are going to come back with our comments on the lyrics and the performance of this young tenor. Okay, so before we start making our particular comments on this version of tenor Christopher Gonzalez, I want to say something. Provided that this is more traditional folklore towards typical local music, it is not written for, let's call it, academic music. It is not for academic voices, and it is not really written for academic musicians. So we are going to, in a way, judge or make our comments a little bit in a more relaxed, because many of these compositions don't even have a score, the partitura. Many of them do not really have them, because also many of the people who compose this music were not academic trained musicians. So this type of music, it's even difficult to find the scores, the music sheets, because they were never created, or someone heard it and they did arrangements and somebody else changed something else, and it is true that it is not an obstacle because this was not meant to be presented at the Royal Opera House, for instance, or the Palacio de Bellas Artes. It was not meant for those places. This is meant to bring Mexicans and people of the world together. It is not native to an academic place. So taking that into account, that's why there are many liberties, and sometimes the singer, canten conmigo, you repeat this, and inviting everybody to be involved, because otherwise it's just the singer singing, doing his stuff, and then leaving. And that's not what happens with this music. So having made that clarification, I know, Rafa, that you will not be satisfied for several reasons. Why don't you share your thoughts on Christopher Gonzalez? Sometimes it's difficult to have. We try to put other things aside when we are recording the programs, but sometimes it's difficult to do that. In the meantime, maybe while Rafa, I think his call dropped. Oh, he's back. Looks like we are having some issues here. No, we cannot hear you. No. Let us see what's going on. Sometimes technology is not on our side.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you so much. All right.
So we can have your comments. I was saying that I know that you will not agree with the interpretation of Christopher, but tell us a little about it.
Yeah. My point of view is not much to say. I can see that this guy is obviously tenor operistic. You can hear that as the first time. There are too much signs that he's a guy who's normally he sings opera or something like this, and my point of view, this kind of music is not made for an operistic tenor, it doesn't sound quite well for my point of view. The interpretation is it complies, yes, it's fine, not much to say. He tries to be kind with the crowd, but as a Mexican, you and myself know that when you are trying to the crowd exploded, you are much more enthusiastic, and he's in a kind of square, let's say, in a way. The mariachi music, it was fine, no bad, not so good. It was fine, and I will say that in a way, when you try to find a good singer for this kind of songs, it would be not so easy to find a good quality singer, because at the end his guy, for example, it's on the street, no much, there's no high commitment, let's say, in order to have a great performance.
We lost your sound. You're back.
So
no, not again. Like chopped.
Chopped. Okay.
Better now.
Now better? Okay. So I was telling you that is just for concluding, is not the commitment in this case for the singer, the performance singer, is not in a good quality or a high quality, because his guy, it's in a party, let's say, in a way, okay, not in a concert, no. So maybe that this type of performances they're not demanding a high quality, no.
And this event, as we can see on the street, for what I could see, this was in fact part of the celebration of the Day of the Dead. A group of Mexicans got together and worked on this Day of the Dead celebration. Maybe you know, or if you don't, I can share that with you, that the Day of the Dead in Mexico is one of the largest celebrations in the country. It's huge. There are many places that are full of the ones we call the Catrinas and ornaments and the ofrendas, and huge. In fact, we have a video on that. If you go to our content, you can find that I made a bonus episode in November past year around the Day of the Dead. So this was a celebration in London. They managed to put a group of people together, and the purpose was to show you part of the Mexican culture, and that's the purpose that he did. I'm going to show you one of the most emblematic songs in the country. That's why I was mentioning we are not using the standards of the operatic singing in an opera house, because that is not the case. We are letting the world know about our music. But me personally, I wanted to make a couple of comments in the. If you notice, even though he's a tenor, he runs into problems in a couple of places in the song. And that's because of what I was sharing with you earlier. This is in an area where the singer, moreover an opera singer that is very, very familiar in how to use the mix of his chest and head voice, that this is too low for complete head voice and too high for a complete chest. So he's trying to negotiate where he's going to sing it, and he fails because he knows that at the end for him, this is a high note, but it doesn't have the full power of a chest. But it sounds out of place because the song does not have that high note. But he knows that if he doesn't do it like that way, he doesn't have enough chest to make it more believable. So he tries to find his way out. And personally, I'm not so convinced of how he resolved several of those passages that demand a good chest voice, convincing sound. I'm not really satisfied with that, but I understand it because, as I was telling you in the earlier, the tessitura for singing this music is complicated. There is this type of voice that you need that is sort of a baritone because he needs a well-rounded chest voice of a baritone with some high notes of a tenor, but not fully singing tenor. A full singing tenor is not adequate for singing this music. It's way too high. He needs more pasta, more power, so that the instruments do not fully cover his voice. That we're going to see now a second example, now that I clarified. Well, of course, I love that Christopher brought our music to this festival in London. And I hope that eventually somebody who is listening to our podcast in the world actually was there and tell us how they found it. Now, let's listen to a second video. This time is going to be tenor Juan Rodriguez. So this was the voice of tenor Juan Rodriguez along with this group of musicians. They are in the US. Let me see. Yeah, Ute Tejano Ensemble. That's the name of this group of musicians. What are your comments, Raffa?
Yeah, exactly. Even in their name, you can see the kind of music they are doing. They are not doing any kind of mariachi song or something like this, you know. This typical 4x4, and then the accordion, you know, this is very typical from the northern song for in our country. Is not a nothing matters in a way, talking about the mariachi song. That's my point of view. if you're going to sing maybe in a from a girl which is his 15th birthday in a party, maybe could fit, but not in a real performance for Volver Volver, because Volver Volver it has to be make sense with a mariachi. Once again, this guy is a tenor voice. It's flat. From my point of view, it's flat. There's no interpretation. There's no kind of any feeling on that. I think the tempo 4x4 is has a lot of let's say is that's the reason why this 4x4 is the reason why they are so flat. So you cannot so many tools to bring something more to the crowd, and that's what I'll say. That's what I will say. Not much to say to them.
Personally, I find his voice extraordinary. I really love the voice of this man. This man looks, what I was just mentioning earlier, that while our previous tenor, Christopher, was a little too high and in a way purely lyrical high voice tenor, this man has a voice that is a little lower and with much more pasta. His voice is much wider, and I think that that Juan also nails much better how to attack or go for the difficult passages. What our previous tenor had problems in resolving where to position the voice, this had already figured it out. So I think he has sung it 1,000 times maybe, because he knows how to go for each of the parts without exposing, or he doesn't even seem to be having a hard time. While Christopher indeed had several hard times trying to figure out where to position the voice, this guy, I really like the way he resolved from a technical point of view, because I think we can now explain that is very Mexican to do. I'm not sure if that happens the same in other countries, but Mexicans like to sing this part, and in particular they like to sing the Volver, Volver, Volver. And there is a trick in singing the Volver, 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 because most of the times many people don't do it right. And it is explainable because you're not expected to be a trained singer. You're in a party, you're singing, you're drinking with your friends, and you listen to this music and everybody's hugging and say, Volver, Volver, Volver. Nobody's expecting you to have the right position to reach the note, to sustain the breathing. Those are too fancy items for just singing in a party. But even now on stage you see that it is causing problems, going back to the point that this music is difficult to sing. If you try to do it, try to look at how I am doing it. Most of the times when you attack the first syllable, you are already off pitch, because you are afraid of not knowing how to nail the ver. If you notice, it is the same quality of the second syllable. But if you if you go low with the O, you will never reach the ver. Not sure if I am explaining it well. Yeah. And many people stop because they say, Volver, take breath, repose the diaphragm and the whole position, trying to position again, Volver, rest, Volver, and that is a complete mistake. Katia and I have explained it in that case for operatic content. If you have a car running, you stop it. You try to go to 100 miles, you stop it, and then you want 120, it's not going to work. And that's what most people do when they try to sing Volver, Volver. Volver! Stop the car. Volver! Volver! The car is not going to work. You cannot do that with the voice, with the diaphragm, and the position of the phonetic system. You have to rise, like mount. I like to explain it as mounting a wave. Imagine you're mounting yourself on a wave, and when you're mounting yourself on a wave, you know how you're going to do the emission. You're going to increase volume, and you're going to go high in the notes, but you're already mounting the wave. You're not stopping the car, accelerating the car, stopping the car, accelerating the car. No, you're in a wave, and from that wave, we'll give you the liberty to give a little more push where you need it, more volume, a little higher note when you need it, but you will always be safe in this area. If you accelerate, stop, you're never going to make it. Just a recommendation for the next party, Mexican party you attend. You want to sing Volver, Volver, Volver. Don't stop the car. Initiate the car. Accelerate the car. Stop the car. No. Mount in the note that you can do and attack it from there. Volver, Volver, Volver. If you see, it looks easy. Because as Katia likes to say, because it is easy. It sounds easy because it is easy, but only you have to find the right position or the way. Of course, it depends on your tesitura and where you feel more comfortable. Since this is popular music, you can bring it a third upper or third lower, and nothing really is going to happen because this is popular music. You can do all that you need in order to sound comfortable. Don't try to push yourself too much in the volume, maybe because your voice is not made for the volume. Don't push your... Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you. However, I think that when you are singing this specifically this song, I'm agree. You cannot say Volver, Volver, Volver. I know, but maybe that would fit if you say Volver, Volver, Volver. You know, o sea, at the end, you are getting to the point, or you are getting to the interpretation, you know, because at the end, maybe the first two, Volver, has to be, as you said, in the first, in just one breath, and then the last one take a break in order to make it longer, you know, and to get more interpretation. My point of view, that will be an option. Okay, just to give my point of view that you're right. However, you can in a presentation or in a performance you can choose option B, let's say, in a way.
And in a way, you can have even option C. It is this tenor, Juan Rodriguez. In fact, the first time he did it very quickly. The three first time, Volver, Volver, Volver. And I was left like, but the last Volver has to be longer. But he did Volver, Volver, Volver. And more closer to the end, he took his time. Even he took off the accordion. He took it off because he knew he needed more liberty because he was going to sing a much longer note, and he chose to do that. It can be done for the purpose of interpretation, as Raffa shared, but it can. Let me see if I explain it well. It can be made for purpose of interpretation, but only as a performance, because maybe you're really not taking more breath. There is something when you are singing that is more effective for the audience when they see you breathe, because they say, "Oh, something is coming," you know, like when people are the typical example, Nessun Dorma, and before the last vincero, if they see that the tenor is getting ready for the vincero, is carrying people to the emotion, they know that something is coming. So in a way, I don't want to call it manipulate, but in fact that's what the singer is doing. You can manipulate, because maybe you really don't need to breathe, but show us if you are catching more air. Maybe you need it, but maybe you don't. But if you don't, you still want to appear that you needed, because people will say, oh, he's going to do something spectacular. He's getting ready for a high note. He's going to sustain the Volver. Even you can play with the change in Volver. You see, you can do something around the change from the ELV, so that people find it more attractive instead of counting Volver, Volver. That has to do a lot more with the style of the singer. Sometimes we may approve or disapprove the style of what people can do. But I like, even if I don't like the result, what I like is that the interpreter is committed. He has thought, how am I going to do it more interesting? How can I do a little change here so that it doesn't sound monotonous? How do I vibrate more the Volver, or I put more emphasis? Volver! You see? Volver! That also gives another intention. And even if I don't like the result, you say, man, this guy really thought about how to do this song, his version. So there are many things, many ways to do it. So thanks for bringing this up, Raffa, because yes, there is more than one way to do it, and sorry, but yeah, it is mainly for manipulating people, that many singers, even if they don't need the breath, just to catch the attention. And many songs are composed in that way. In fact, our next month, we are going to bring one of the songs that actually uses that resource very effectively. We are referring to the Conte Partiro by Andrea Bocelli. He does exactly the same game. The composer put a musical passage just before the high note, and everybody is waiting. The long note is coming. The long note is coming. So these are tricks that you learn when you are singing. You need to call the attention of people. So you do what is available to do that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I agree.
The last thing that I wanted to point out is that in fact, this was not a mariachi. You notice that the instruments have changed radically. But the point that I wanted to illustrate here is that Mexicans are resourceful. So even if they are not a mariachi, they found a way to put the arrangements into other instruments and try to make it work. Because at the end, people say that Mexicans are not born in Mexico, but wherever they are. So they can be anywhere in the world. They can still be Mexicans. So probably, we don't know these young guys, because if you can see on the video, they are young for the most of them. So maybe they weren't even born in Mexico. Probably they are a second generation already in the US. So with the music they've been exposed to, they say, we're going to build our song. And since my dad likes to listen to Vicente Fernandez, we're going to do our version of Volver. Probably that's what happened. And now, last but not least, let's go for a third final version. This time is you will see it again, a change in the instruments. And I don't want to give you much more introduction. Just look at how different the venue, the place is here. You will see what I'm talking about. So completely change of this time. We're in a theater. We have an orchestra. You see how the tenor here is Jorge Lopez Yañez. He's carrying he's carrying the show on his shoulders. But Rafa, what are your comments?
Totally different than the other two last presentations. In my point of view, there was a great arrangement for the orchestra in this performance, great instrumentation. There was a mix between mariachi and, let's say, a philharmonic or something like this, or orchestra, which feels and approaches the very sense of this song. Is fitting the feeling that this song, specifically this. Okay, now can you hear me? Okay, so I was telling you that the orchestra was great. Her voice, my point of view, is great. Is soft. Is not so loud, but she doesn't make that great effort to sing loudly, but there's no need because she knows what she has, and the interpretation is clear, is softly. You can hear it and you can feel it. As I can see, she's a soprano, as I can see, and but even though that she's a soprano, she respects the root of the song. You know, she tried to respect the what does it mean this song, what is about this song. You know, and in the other hand, this guy, Mr. Lopez, once again is another operatic tenor, and you can see, as you said, he's trying to get involved to the crowd and hey, vamos todos, let's go everybody, and singing every blah 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 blah. So it's trying to get involved to the crowd, and the crowd obviously sang very well. They know the song, and that's the way, and that's the topic, that's the goal in this kind of songs, that you get involved with the crowd and they can feel it, and we talk as we talk in the very beginning. This is the Mexican style, you know, to try to bring them all together and feel what I'm feeling regarding these lyrics and this song. That's what I think.
Yeah, you may have noted. Well, there are a couple of things that I wanted to mention around tenor Jorge Lopez Yáñez. You saw him now dressing in the mariachi costume now, even with the huge hat that these garments demand. But he's not. He has been one of the most important tenors of the past 30 years. He has sung in one of the most important opera houses around the world. So he's a really huge name in the opera. And why am I mentioning it? Because if you notice, he decides to take, in a way, a secondary place. He sits to her and says, I don't need to prove myself. I don't need to prove that I am my huge tenor voice, that in fact you listen to it at the end, you see how he goes without any problem there, because he knows he has the voice, he has the resources. But he says, I don't need my ego to be in front of everything. I'm going to take a step back and let the show and carry all the public into the emotion of the song. And that's what an artist does. He knows he doesn't need to prove anything, because perfectly provided that he's a very well-known opera tenor, he could have dressed, in a tuxedo and be very stiff like opera. But he has chosen many times. In fact, in the past, throughout most of his career, but moreover recently, he has sung a couple of CDs, albums with Mexican folklore music, because he really likes ranchera folklore music, and he chose to sing it and do it for everybody. So he's not playing to be Mexican in this concert. I can tell you, Jorge Lopez Yáñez is proud to be Mexican. he enjoys and feels committing to dressing in the costume of a mariachi, which is a lot, because as I was opening today, you feel the weight on your shoulders. You're carrying with the music to represent your country, and that's what he's doing. He knows he has made very great achievements in Italy, in Germany, in France, but that's not the point today. Today is that I am in Aguascalientes with a local orchestra, and we are having the best time of our lives with a Mexican song. That's what this is about. Anything else that you would like to add, Rafa?
No. As you said, I can saw that this guy managed perfectly the voice he has. And he is back to the stage, let's say, in a way, in order to she can bright in with that song. And once again, as I said, his job in here, specifically in here, was to involve to the crowd in this Mexican environment, you know, and that's great. He talks, from my point of view, talks very great about him, you know.
And now it is time to go for our final part, the part that we enjoy the most, because we have to say if it is a thumbs up or thumbs down for each of the recordings today. So, first one, the tenor Christopher Gonzalez in London. Rafa, what do you think?
Before to qualify,
okay,
I need to say something. I'm not qualifying the voice of the tenor or the voice of that girl, of this lady. I'm just qualifying the whole product, all right, as a whole. That's when, because as we said, it's not so easy to sing mariachi songs. It's not so easy, and Volver is not easy. Okay, so I'm just qualifying the instrumentation, arrangements, interpretation, voice quality, and the whole package. All right, that's what I will do. Okay.
Okay.
So for Christopher Gonzalez,
I can't believe you said no. I could have a good number of reasons for saying thumbs down, but I'm going to say thumbs up. Basically, okay, because it is in London, and anybody who brings our culture to another country just needs to be recognized, acknowledged. So for that reason, I would say thumbs up. I myself, even if I studied longer and have it a better version, I'm not sure I would stand up in front of a couple hundred of Brits singing for them. I don't know if I would have the nerve to do that, but he did. So mainly for that, I am not looking at the vocal qualities of the quality of the arrangements. From my perspective, is he conveying something to the audience? Defective or not, in my perspective is, yeah, he's bringing this to a people from a different culture, and I can hear them cheering, yeah! So that, yeah, from the Brits, for me is a success. So that's why I say thumbs up for that. Let's go.
Yeah, but at the end, you're, as you said, you're obviously we are not discussing, or we are not I forgot the name, the word, debate. We are not to debating here. Just make your point of view and make my point of view. But as you said, because he's in London, the London people, if they see a guy which is, in a way, for my point of view, trying to bring the Mexican culture in the music with a mariachi, but for my point of view, they did it not so well. Obviously, the London people will be, hey, woo, yoo-hoo, ah, because they don't know about the real music, the real Mexican music in mariachi, because they don't know about it. So that's my point, that if you will bring to another country our roots as a Mexican culture, folkloric mariachi music, please do it as it is, in a good way. That's my point of view.
Okay, so that's where we're standing for the first one, the recording with the Ensamble Tejano. Thumbs up or thumbs down? You didn't like it. Why?
Once again, because at the end, that song is not made by another song. Northern song. It's not a northern song. It's, for example, if I'm going to play a very unassessed example. Yesterday from the Beatles. If you go with mariachi in London, talking Yesterday from the Beatles, and yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. La da dee da dee da dee. That song, it wasn't made for mariachi song, for example. I'm just talking as I say, in a sense, metaphoric word or example. So my point of view is not Volver, Volver, Volver is not another song. Could be as an arrangement. Okay, I can buy that. I can buy that situation. Let's say, but not as a performance or real performance. As I said, in a party in which the band is a northern Mexican song, because they uses accordion and northern guitars and so on. Okay, that's the style. But that is another topic. The root of this song is mariachi. That's my point of view.
Okay, so and this time, mainly because I love the voice of this man, that's why I'm going to say again thumbs up. I really like the quality, the harmonics of his voice. I'm not sure if he have ever tried full operatic repertoire, but I can see him singing a couple of interesting things. Of course, singing Volver Volver is not as challenging as singing something fully operatic. But even if he doesn't, I really liked his voice. Also, again, in terms of experience, what I like is that assuming they may or not may be native Mexicans, and they still carry the joy of the local music, I think it's good. I'm not sure if where they are they have reached the instruments for a mariachi. There are so many unknowns. So I think for the effort, that's why, and the voice of this guy, I think it's good. And finally, the version with Jorge López Yáñez, who barely sings, mostly Mónica Abrego on the orchestra. Because of?
Yeah, because this guy was very joyful. My point of view, that's a great. His job was great in that sense. Even that he sung just a little pieces of the song, I can hear the quality of his voice. That's great. It's once again, it's another operatic tenor, but that's what I would love to him. That he respects in that way. He respects the root of the song. He says, "Okay, I am a tenor. I'm going to be with our limits because I know that, as you said, my talent in this here is not so it doesn't fit quite well in that kind of music. So I will be, hey, go together, y volver, volver, and then gets to the crowd, sings and so on. That was great for me. So I have to respect that. And also because of her, she was great. She was soft, as I said, and the crowd was great at the end. So that's the reason why. And obviously the orchestra, the philharmonic, the instrumentation, the music arrangements. At the end, once again, I'm qualifying the whole product, as a whole, and that performance leads me to the real cause or the real root of this song. Sorry, that's the reason why I thumbs up.
Much to our surprise, mine is up but closer to a down. And you want to leave me why? Because of the orchestra.
Oh my goodness, really?
The orchestra does not give me the emotion that I need from this song. I mean, it's academically fine. The quality of the musicians is good, but I get more emotion from the accordions of the Tejano ensemble than I get from the orchestra. And when I don't get it happens to me many times. I have made a comment with Katia many times. The tenor is good, the soprano is good, the baritone is good, but the orchestra sounds poor, sounds low, sounds lazy, like disconnected. And this time the orchestra did not capture me. I mean, Monica Abrego is singing well. She's giving her voice. Jorge Lopez is cheering the people so that we build emotion. But the orchestra is. At
the end should be that way, because at the end the orchestra is not mariachi. They are just. It's just. My point of view is that the orchestra in this performance is back to the very first phase, let's say, in a way, in the very first phase that mariachi or the song has to be. You know, that's the reason why the orchestra is just, as we talk in Spanish, es una cama. It's a little back.
Yeah, the thing is that for me, the orchestra, I understand everything you say, and I agree to a point, but it feels monotonous. It can be secondary or the second layer, yes, but the sound, the emotion, it's like, I don't know, I am a violinist and they gave me this score. I don't like it. I'm just going to play it. That's what I perceive from the orchestra. So sorry, that's why it's yes, but close to a no, and it is because of the orchestra. And yeah, it could be closer to that. Okay, so with that being said, well, I really enjoyed sharing with you this Mexican, if we can say very Mexican, this very well-known Mexican song, Volver, Volver, Volver. I have enjoyed these videos because they were, if you notice, they were all so different tesituras, different places, different instruments. Everything was different in this set. So we will be meeting here next month. We are going back to a song in Italian and hope to see you around. Anything else, Rafa, that you would like to add?
No, my pleasure to having me here, and thank you so much, and hi everyone.
Thank you.
You can follow our channel for the latest updates and more content. Opera We Love Singing, in just one word. Link in the description of the episode.